check this out. Look at the difference between this side and this one. Look at my shirt. The lighting is exactly the same. The only difference is the white balance. Well, sort of. In today's video, I'm going to teach you the key to getting better lighting for YouTube videos, Zoom calls, or just for talking to your mama. The secret to great looking video is great looking color. And we get that with two things. The first is with proper white balance. And the second is, well, I'll tell you right afterward from my sponsor. Just kidding, I don't have a sponsor. The second is with consistent lighting, of course. So let's talk about it right now. I'm a stay-at-home dad who doesn't have a big budget for gear. I'm always looking to get the highest production quality possible while spending as little as possible. And sometimes all that it requires is a little knowledge. Before I talk about how to get better lighting, the most important thing is to first understand how important white is and how to get it. These colors look normal, right? That's because we know what white is. We can see it. And we know what other colors look like when they are based around white. Look what happens to the colors when we change the white balance, meaning we change the temperature of white between cool and warm. When white changes color because of the temperature of light hitting it, the rest of the colors don't look like themselves either. They are not pleasing to the eye. Now, the way a camera works, and this is so important to understand, is based on the light around it, it adjusts to what it thinks white is. Take a look at this room. More specifically, take a look at the light coming into this room. You have daylight coming from the windows, which is a cool bluish light. Then you have a yellow warm light coming from the lamps and overhead lights. This is a nightmare for a camera because now it has to decide which light to base white off of. Is it the blue coming from the window or is it the yellow coming from the lamps? And it doesn't even matter if you set the white balance manually or you use automatic white balance, your camera will struggle with white in this atmosphere. And no matter how much color correction you do in post, you will drive yourself crazy trying to make things look good. When I adjusted the white balance earlier, you saw how bad the colors looked when the white balance was wrong. Well, that's what happens to the color on your video when you are in a room with different temperature light sources as your main lights. The color will look terrible because the camera's all like, WTF, mate? So if you are doing your videos or meetings in an atmosphere like this with different color light sources or different temperature light sources, you are making it incredibly difficult for the camera to know what white is, which ends up making all your colors look awful and displeasing to the eye, taking attention off of you, the most important part. Here's what I think is the secret to getting the best lighting possible, no matter what lighting you have. Make sure that the lighting you use, whatever color or temperature it is consistent. So if you are in a room that has yellow light, like from your typical overhead light, use other yellow lamps. If you are shooting in the daytime, use lights or bulbs to match the cooler daylight tones. Once your lighting is the same warmth, you can then manually set the white balance on your device and optimize the color. It's much better than using the default automatic white balance. Adjusting the white balance alone can achieve incredible results. Watch this. Here's an automatic white balance on the camera in a room with yellow lights. Now here's me setting it manually. Isn't that nuts how much better it looks just setting the white balance with consistent lighting? The color looks better even with bad lighting. Once the main lighting in the room is the same, it's so much easier for your camera to properly balance and identify white, making the colors in your video pleasing to the eye. I won't get into the actual lighting you use in this video too much, but if you can't afford to buy lights, I recommend starting with something like this. This kind of light can adjust to the temperature of light wherever you are. So if you're shooting at nighttime, you can make it yellow to match the room lights. If it's daytime, you can set it cooler to complement the daylight. If you want to know more about lighting gear and what I recommend, let me know in the comments. The takeaway I want you to have from this video is try to avoid having different color lights coming into the room. Because if you do, white will never look white, which means color will look off. Make sure your lighting is consistent. Once it is, set the white balance. And that's the starting point for great looking lighting for YouTube videos, Zoom calls, or for chatting on Omegle, whatever that is. The reality is, whether you are a content creator or you are in a job interview over a Zoom call, what you are saying is most important, but how you present yourself is important also. Color is beautiful, and making sure your audience sees it clearly goes a long way to creating the best experience possible for that audience, whoever it may be. Quality can set you apart and make you stand out from the rest. Don't lose the viewer or lose the job because you didn't take time to set yourself up for success. Thanks for watching. I create all kinds of videos on things and products to make your life better, so check out my next video here.
Hey Dad, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm just working on my newest video.
Are you trying to teach people that consistent lighting, temperature, and setting white balance is the key to beautiful color in video?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Well, this lighting sucks.